Hello, welcome to Retro Toy Princess. I am Allison Troy, and I apologize for the delay. As you will see, I cut the F out of my finger earlier during lunch, and yeah, so a little bit of a technical issue. So I appreciate your patience. So a little bit behind, but you know, whatever. It happens with lives. Quickly get the camera better oriented. There we go. So yeah, it's Mermania, and we are going to be coloring Stratos headbutting Merman off of a sky sled because that's what we do. And I'm going to take it down really quick. This is part of that 1984 Masters of the Universe coloring book that I want to color every picture from this year, even the crappy ones. There are a few crappy ones. So yeah. And I'm going to check chat really quick. Let's see. Hello, Adam, Radical Toys. Nice to see you today. Chris Plastic, thank you, thank you. Yeah, Friday at work. It's been a week. Greetings for the Holdo maneuver. Have you tried? Yeah, like I tried turning off all of the pain sensors. Hello, Eldor. Welcome. Let's get through really quick. It's all right, Aaron. I was also late a little bit, so thank you, thank you. And then let's see. Sweet. So that's good news for those of you who are in Canada. So, all right. Now, it looks like everyone in chat. Really quick, because of the slight delay, I didn't get to run my normal disclaimer, which is Moby is trash. So just a quick reminder, Moby is trash. Always has been, always will be. Oh, go ahead and turn that off. All right, very good. All right, so we'll get started. So yeah, it's Mermania, which is a month of celebrating Merman. And I thought it would be fun, and a couple of people are also enjoying Mermania, I think. So I'm just going to start really quickly and do a basic, sort of just, I normally would get the ruler, but I'm not sure where my ruler is, and thank you, klutzy me, but that's okay, because it doesn't have to be precise. So it's not going to go up next to the Mona Lisa. So I'm going to do orange because I want to do some orange and yellow sky stuff. So now that I sort of have it blocked out so that I have a border, I'm going to go in really lightly with a vermilion orange. And I'll just start there. And that's, I guess, the arty part of all of this. So anyway, I picked this picture because it's pretty, I guess, fun is the word I would use. It's action-oriented, which I thought would be fun. But also, how often you get to see Stratos headbutting Merman. And literally, he's a fish out of water with this one. So, although, because of the structure of his face, it looks like he's smiling. So he looks like he's happily being headbutted, which makes me wonder if there's some unaddressed kink that Merman has not let us know about for himself. So, let's see. Yeah, that you do, Chris. That you do. You have all your stuff for your Merman content, so it'd be silly not to do it. Anyone who's watching who makes content, if you want to participate in Mermania, it's really easy. You just make some Merman content and use the hashtag #MermanMarch or Mermania or both. And as we can see, words are hard today. Let's see if a little more coffee will do it. But it's been a week. So between the finger, I've been battling some cold illness stuff and almost didn't do today, but I'm like, I kind of need just that time, hour or two to hang out with you guys on live stream and color some Masters of the Universe. So a little bit of zen. We did take our kitten this week and got him his little snip so there won't be any kittens from his loins. And he's been pretty sedate because sedatives and painkillers, and he's been pretty ornery, but he's pretty chill now. So he's been quite the love bug since he's come home from the vet. So any of you have a man at home who's unruly, maybe get him snipped and he might be a little more sedate. So just a thought. Anyway, how is everyone in chat doing? I know that the Mattel exclusives on Walmart.com this morning went not well for most people. So anyone else feeling the sting today? And oh, this is my reminder to put the music on. And we're gonna feed some ducks. Okay, turn it down a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I saw a couple of those. So I may have made a mini rant on one of Mattel's actual Instagram posts, which is not like me, but I don't know. The process was pretty dang annoying for me. And the fact that this isn't like the first time that it's been a thing where like, yeah, it's just, it shouldn't be a thing at all. Walmart, exclusives for MOTU, especially, well, with Mattel, because it also often happens with those WWE exclusives. Like it's been such a cluster fuck for a while now that at this point I don't like. They gotta fix it, because at this point it hurts the brand, in my opinion. Like, if you want to make people not want to buy your stuff, make it impossible to get unless you're willing to pay a scalper on the aftermarket. You know, and based on what is on eBay right now, it definitely looks like the scalpers had a good time getting through. So it's a good time for the Flip War figure. It's his time now, like prime time for Flip War, which yeah, there's a lot of issues with their e-retail site, and they don't care. They got paid. And that's the thing. A lot of places, Walmart is sort of the only choice, so they kind of don't care, because there are a lot of people who just have no choice but to buy through them, and it's not going to hurt their bottom line for the most part. So it's kind of the problem. You know, they used to be better when they had more competition, but now that their competition is mainly Amazon, they're not quite so good, because, you know. Oh. All right, so that I've got the orange sort of down here, and I'm gonna do some yellow above it so that we've got an orange and yellow sky. And that's I did the orange here because obviously Merman has some yellow/gold in his costume, but he's cobalt, so he'll stick out pretty good. And then Stratos has a lot of red, so the yellow up here will give it some compare and contrast. Yeah, so that is the color choice. And plus it's kind of like almost like a sunset, but not quite. I tend to like to do yellow and orange for Eternia skies. It's kind of Earth-like, but not Earth-like just enough, because while we do get yellow and orange in our skies, we don't quite get them as intensely as I make them for Eternia. So it's alien, but not totally alien, so it looks just familiar enough. So, hello, Derek Hoover of the Yesterday's podcast. Yep, you better. And Eldor. Well, I'm glad that it seems like they're getting whatever the international shipping issue. Oh, that was a whistle. Sorry about that. Whatever the international shipping issue was. It seems like they're getting it fixed. And the rumor was that there was something with who they were using for international shipping. There was also a rumor it had something to do with the different languages on the packaging for certain areas. So there's been nothing official confirmed, so I don't know. But it does seem interesting that there were a few non-United States countries that were still able to get deliveries that don't have quite the same packaging, the language on the packaging requirements. So, but that doesn't explain sort of like places like New Zealand and Eternia, where Eldor is, that also are having issues. So, I don't know, it's a curious, and it's just the lack of communication, which I'm not surprised about from Mattel. Like, Mattel in general has not been very good with communication. Hopefully on the 21st, when they do whatever this collector's thing they're doing, like, I think it's the 21st. Whatever day it is that they're doing their presentation, which is usually when they show all their new Masters of the Universe product for the year anyway. Hopefully there will be some communication from Mattel, but they've been really bad in general from Masters of the Universe about communication, which I think is hard in my opinion, because Hasbro is really good about communication. And a lot of people have complaints, but in general, Hasbro has been pretty good about putting their people on screen and having their people do interviews and talk to people, so that we at least have a sense sort of what's going on, enough to have educated opinions on when something goes wrong, or whatever the case may be. I mean, there's some stuff obviously that they're just never, corporations are never going to tell consumers, but I feel like Hasbro gets a little bit closer. And then we've got McFarlane, who just, sometimes it feels like he says too much, like the kids screaming outside. Oh, kids. In my day, we had school at this time of day, but apparently in my neighborhood we have kids screaming outside. So, but anyway. Let's check the chat. Yeah, I was feeling pretty cynical earlier as well. Usually does. Yep. Yeah, dang youths and their youthfulness. Their youthful exuberance for screaming out in the streets. Well, it's not really a street, but yeah, it's still. I think the irony for me is the household with the screaming children is the same household that recently left a note on one of our neighbors' walls that it's too late to be playing your bass after 8 p.m. It was like, oh my, the people with the noisy children that are always outside are going to be leaving notes about people having, and to be honest, the bass was a little loud that night, but it's been the only time I've ever had that happen. It was a Friday night and it was good. It was good bass. It wasn't like it was bad bass. It wasn't like it was Moby. I mean, it was, but I just also like, there's nothing more passive aggressive and Karen like than to leave a note on somebody's wall. Your music was too loud. Especially when your kids are too loud right now. So anyway, I'm going in with it's called Sunburst Yellow Prismacolor, just to sort of here where the orange meets the yellow, sort of darken it out to give it more of a gradient. Because of the pain in this finger, I'm not sure. This page may not have my norm. I may not go quite as hard as I would normally go as far as doing all the things with this page. But as my personal trainer says, consistency is the important thing. And 2 p.m. every other Friday, I say I do this, so I'm going to do it. Cut thumb, be damned. Well, no, cut middle finger, be damned. I mean, the nice part is I get to flip people off more readily. So, and I will say I've been sort of having some feelings about these acrylic nails. If not for that acrylic nail, I probably would have had to go to the emergency room. So, my vanity about my nails saved my life today. Not really. It wasn't that bad. But I'm not very good with pain, so it just would have felt like it was the end of my life. Yeah, that's sort of this is a good point, Elder, because this is sort of what I was, back in the day. Like Top Toys was in, sort of South America, south of the border for the United States. I think even in like Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, all of those areas had like Top Toys for the most part, and they did all the production. And then there, Leo Fakers, because there were production companies in the sort of Middle East that were doing MOTU stuff. And even with Star Wars, it was like Palatoy in Canada and Great Britain. And I mean, I kind of get the idea that, it's maybe more cost effective in some ways to do it yourself until we run into stuff like this. Because if Mattel still have licensors in, say, Australia, New Zealand, all these countries that can't get shipping right now, if they actually were working with manufacturers in those areas, they could easily just have those companies selling them and reduce the need for international shipping. So I'm sure that there's some sort of economics where they technically make more money, but at the same time, are you making more money when people can't buy your products easily and they're having to buy them on the aftermarket? They don't, that's the thing. Mattel doesn't get any extra money if somebody buys this toy on eBay for like 3 times the price. Mattel only gets that initial cut, whereas if Mattel, instead of like somebody buying 3 of them and then flipping it on the internet, just had enough available, then they would make that sell directly for like more. I don't know. Like I don't understand companies that don't sort of. I guess they're like, whether it's 1 customer or 3 customers, like they make the same amount, but it's like the ill will that you get when you make it hard for people to buy something they want to buy from you. Like long term, you lose that customer. So it just seems very short-sighted. Oh my God, same, very much the same, Aaron. There's probably a theory about narcissism and my fear of my own mortality that one of my exes used to trot out, because Carls have a lot of opinions about stuff like that. But it's just, I mean, he's probably accurate about the blood thing, but whatever, Carl. If only he could have been that insightful in all the ways. Anyway, but yeah, like anytime I see my own blood, it makes it 3 times worse. Especially because I have a really nice ceramic knife that I use to cut the vegetables. So it doesn't register as quickly if you're using a terrible dull knife that, maybe it wouldn't have got as far either, but still at the same time, like the immediate bite of pain from a terrible knife is completely different than when a nice knife gets a little bit deeper. I mean, again, saved by the acrylic nail. So thank you, Vanity, for finally paying off in some way. I mean, I'm gonna have to get that nail redone. So when the finger heals, I'm gonna have you'll be able in a couple months when that, because you know, like I film a lot of my shorts and a lot of my long form coloring videos way in advance, and then sort of plot them out so that there's sort of a flow, so you guys will be able to tell when I film stuff for a little bit, because this band-aid will be on the middle finger. So it's a little insider, a little behind the scenes tip for you viewers of Alice and Troy Retro Toy Princess. Yeah. If Eminem subscribed to my channel, like I only have one thing to say to him, and it's like, my tea's gone cold, I wonder why I got out of bed at all. And yeah, so that would be my one comment to Eminem, and then it would be punch Moby, please. It's the only time. Just to do it less homophobically, Eminem. Yeah, like, and I can usually take pain. I'm a ginger, and we're infamously able to endure a little bit more pain. But when it's my eyes or my fingers, like for some reason, that's the worst. Yeah, that would be pretty bad. There was one time I this is turning into a body horror, which is fine. So we've got Stratos headbutting Stratos off the sky sled. So I nearly took the tip of my finger off cutting a vegetable. So let's just go body horror. One time I was walking in the woods, and it was when I lived in Texas, and there had been a storm, so there were a lot of trees that were down. And I was just sort of swinging my arm, and because I'm also a klutz, I managed to connect the same finger. Actually, this finger is just cursed. If I ever get a cybernetic implant of anything, it'll be this finger first, because I'll have done something stupid to it. But one of the splinters, I hit it just so, and the splinter went down to like right there. And it didn't. When I jerked it away, like the splinter came with it, so it looked almost like Wolverine. And it went all the way down to there, and it was stuck, so I had to pull that sucker out. So anyway, when I got home, I was a bit younger. I still lived with my family, and my grandmother was like, "Was that you screaming in the woods?" I'm like, "Yes." It was me, because no scream whenever it happened, but the act of having to take that splinter out was thoroughly awful. It's worse than the time I listened to that Moby song. Oh, just the one? Good. Yeah, I hope so too, Eldor, because it does hurt a little, and it's literally the finger that I use to color, so like it's just gonna have to hurt. So I'm just gonna be uncomfortable, because at this point, like, even though technically I could not color I could stop coloring any of the sort of the stuff I do for my channel for like 3 weeks, and I still have enough content to get through to like the beginning of June. Even the long form content, I have like 20 Princess of Power pages sort of filmed and backlogged that I could basically start. I hate editing though, which is why they're still backlogged. My only goal in becoming a big YouTuber is literally to make enough from YouTube to pay somebody to edit my videos. So if I ever get a fan who wants to edit for free so they can impress me, like I will let that happen, because I hate editing. Anyway, yeah, so it's and again, it's just like, I'm a klutz. If anything inconvenient can happen, it's gonna happen, and it's gonna be, you know, like if it had been my pinky or whatever, like, I mean, there are times where I'm like, if they wanted to take my pinky, I'd be like, it kind of gets in the way sometimes anyway. It's like my little toe is only there to, and those of you who are young, you don't know this yet, but once you hit like 37 to 40, the toenail on your little toe, it starts getting its freak on. I just look at it sometimes. I'm like, what are you doing down there? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's like it just has a mind of its own. Anyway, I used a black cherry for these mountains, and I'm gonna go in with it's called henna, and it's like a reddish, it's like a henna color, so, but it'll help. And I'm gonna be a little sloppy with the line work around where the mountain touches the sky, just so that it gets a little bit of a red hue, because at least what I see sometimes when I look at mountains against the sky is there's a little bit of a bleed off. So I'm gonna do a little bit of that, and it'll help. Again, I want all of this sort of the mountain stuff. I want these parts dark, this sort of like this orange yellow, so that the cobalt and the red and blue from Stratos and Merman will stand out more. So it's kind of the goal here is to make them really sort of pop while getting sort of an alien world look. Thus sort of like a really dark purple and henna for these mountains. Again, a realistic-ish color, because mountains here on Earth sort of have a purple look, but still just a little off. So yeah, I'm a very impatient person, and I'm sure everyone in chat right now, I think everyone in chat except our friends at the Holdo Maneuver and this will be corrected, they will be joining me, but I think most of you have been on a live stream coloring with me on a Sunday episode. So probably not. I get really impatient sometimes, and editing is like there are times where you just have to sort of sit there and second by second by second to like get the cut in the right place so that it looks good. And if you watch any of my videos where I edit, there are times where the video will just end, and it's literally because I'm like, okay, like the coloring part just needs to be over, like this video is done, here's the finished product, we're out. So I do need to get better about that, because as I grow, people are going to want better quality, but I just get impatient, and like, so having this finger sort of slightly in pain and slowing me down, it triggers all of my impatience. Like, at some point this weekend when I'm trying to color and I have to stop, I'm going to probably throw something. It'll be a pencil, it won't be like, you know, it won't be like violence, it'll just be like I'll throw a pencil across the room or something. I'll stamp my foot and have a Veruca Salt moment. So all right, there we go. Sorry, there was a Discord notification. For those who know what Discord is, I don't. But for those who don't, it's a chat program. We use it for work. So sometimes I'll get a message and it'll be work. This was not what it was. It was somebody on one of the art channels I'm on complaining about AI art. So that conversation will be all right if I just ignore it for the next hour or two. But this page might actually go faster. I've not been getting as much done on these live streams because I've sort of been picking deceptively uncomplicated pages that turn into complicated. The sky sled will actually probably take a while. But it would be cool if I started a second one today. But I am sort of liking this like black cherry purple that I used. That's the name of it. It's a purple, but they call it black cherry. With the henna against the orange and the yellows. I like how it looks. And that is the sort of the other bit of art advice thing I will say today is make sure you're pleasing yourself when you sort of are doing art stuff, especially if it's, you know, like sort of adult coloring where it's like you're just doing it for yourself to have a good time, to de-stress, to whatever. Unless it's a commission piece you're getting paid for, the fun factor of it should be pretty high up your nose with the rubber hose. No, just kidding. Okay, so anyway, I've been thinking about that, up your nose with the rubber hose, because I watched an episode of Welcome Back Kotter on YouTube the other day, and I've not seen it probably since Welcome Back Kotter was on TV, like in reruns on Nick at Night or something, and I forgot just how obnoxious they all were. And yeah, but there was a lot of up your nose with the rubber hose. And I was like, wow, I forgot that was the whole thing we did for a while there. Alright, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to put I did some cream for the clouds just to have a base, but I'm going to go in with this. It's called Processed Red, but it's really just a dark pink. It'll work with sort of the mountain elements, but I don't know how it's going to look with the sort of the cream I put down as a base. I was thinking more of a yellow, but I don't know. Now I want some pink down here, and I think the pink will contrast better with everything that's going to happen up there. So. Huh. Yeah, right? I can barely do anything with my left hand. I tried for a while to learn how to write. I had a teacher who could write with both hands. And she was a teacher I really liked and admired a lot, so I tried really hard. And I got to where I could, it still looks like a serial killer handwriting. Like, it still looked like it was a note that would be like, you know, we have your child, send us $1,000 by noon on Tuesday, or they'll be sleeping with the fish. Which, you know, that's a handwriting that you can use if you don't want people to track your handwriting back to you. But I was never able to get it. And even that would have taken a lot of effort. So yeah, I've dated several left-handed men, and yeah. Anyway, that's just the observation. There's no more to the story. I think Matt is left-handed. Now that I think about it, I don't pay attention to what hand people write with. Not anymore. I would have in my 20s. In my 20s, everything was a big deal. Like, I dated a guy with flat feet in my late teens, early 20s, and that was a big, big deal to me. It was diversity. He's got flat feet, you guys. He's not like other guys. Spoiler alert, he was. He was actually the first Carl. So, Flatfoot Carl. He walks like a duck, though, so that was interesting. If you're watching this and you have flat feet and you don't walk like a duck, this obviously doesn't apply to you, so don't get offended, but it was a thing. And well, he walks like a duck, and I asked him, why do you walk like a duck? And he's like, it's because I have these flat feet. And I was like, well, you don't have webs between your toes, so like that doesn't make sense. But that Carl wasn't the brightest. He wasn't the smartest duck in the pack. Is that a pack of ducks? I don't know. They didn't teach you that in school. Yeah, right? Yeah, that was how desperate I was to hang out with people who were not like everyone else, that I made a big deal about the flat foot. Flat feet and left-handed, if I remember correctly. Actually, now that I think about it, I think almost every man I've dated was left-handed. Interesting. Huh. Never put that one together. Anyway, something that you learn something new about yourself every day. And today I've learned two things. One, I should pay more attention when I'm cutting vegetables. And two, I've dated a lot of men with left hands. So, I mean, they've all had left hands so far. I've never dated the drummer from Def Leppard, but like left hand oriented, I guess is the word I was looking for. Not that I wouldn't date somebody who didn't have a left hand, so don't. Like, that's not what I'm saying. It's just not happened yet. I haven't met anyone missing their left hand who asked me out on a date. And so. Anyway. Oh, the places you'll go on a live stream. Yeah, see, everyone I've dated has only had serious relationships with redheads. So most of the relationships are not serious, so or less dramatic, I guess is the right word for it. Flock of, yes, it would be because they're birds. See, this is why you're here, Chris, so that I can learn from you. A group, Surrey. I feel like Surrey is like trying to. I feel like that's shenanigans. I feel like she just made that up and wants to see whether or not you'll believe it. A raft of ducks. Huh. Maybe she's right though. She is AI. And they can't do art for shit, but they definitely know there's other stuff. So. Alright, let's see. So. Like the clouds, I just feel like the clouds need a little bit more. So I'm going to go in with Deco Pink, which is a lighter pink, and just sort of blend some of the roughness away. Even though I did the rough, sort of this rough texture on it, because I like the texture of that, but I'll go in with this. So. It'll be the week for a rougher texture. I should talk about it here. I've got two fun live streams coming up this week. On Sunday, I've got Michael from Toy Habits who will be joining me. We're going to color Princess of Power, which is super fun because Michael and Toy Habits is why I'm on YouTube. I made comments about Princess of Power and the comments of Toy Habits enough times that when they wanted to do one of their Princess of Power episodes, they asked me to join them because he and his co-host at the time, Larry, didn't know much about as much about Princess of Power. So that's why I'm here. So it'll be fun to like host Michael and sort of hang out with him and color some Princess of Power. Sort of bring it all back full circle. And then on Wednesday, I'm doing a special, it's going to be a very special episode of Blossom on Wednesday night, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm going to be coloring original art that I did. I don't have the coloring page printed out yet, but I'll share the original art. It's Flipper. I think we've all heard of Flipper. Anyway, Mad Hatter will be joining me on Wednesday night, and we're going to color Flipper. And it's going to be Mad Hatter, so we all know that it's going to be unpredictable. So, in a good way, because he's fun. So anyway, definitely check it out Sunday morning when I'm with Michael, and next Wednesday with me and Mad Hatter. So those are they're going to be two really fun. Not that anyone I have had before isn't fun, but you know. Yeah. An Estevez of ducks, that would be epic. A whole bunch, flock, a badling, a brace, a paddling, a plump, or a raft. Interesting. I do feel like it should be an Estevez of ducks. Yeah, I do too. He cracks me up. Like, it'll be fun. Like he's got a good. He's got a good personality. No, he's just really funny. He cracks me up. I love his stuff. I'm so I'll say this here. So when I decided I wanted to do those Sunday live streams with the guests coloring with me, I made a list of 20 people that I wanted to have on, and 10 of them were people that, like sort of I knew, like Chris Plastic, you were on that list of 20 people. But you and I had been chatting, so it wasn't like, it wasn't the same as asking somebody like Mad Hatter. Well, Mad Hatter was on that list. And I wouldn't have technically asked him at this point. There are a few of the people on the list I'm going to wait a little until I'm a little bit farther along. But because he's doing the whole flipper thing, I'm like, he's just like, I want not that flipper is going to happen already, but I'm like, I want to help him make that happen. I want to help him make his dream. All of us doing YouTube, like, we're here because we're passionate about something and like we're wanting to share it. And I'm like, I want to help him get the word out to as many people as possible about Flip War. And if I can hang out and have a good time doing it, all the more reason. So anyway, so yeah, it's exciting. I don't know. It'll be a fun stream, I think. He brings a unruly audience, so it'll be interesting to see what chat is like that night. I already got a couple mods just in case. So but yeah, so I don't know, it's pretty cool. And I did original art for it. I haven't been doing a lot of original art, as most of you know. I think I've talked about that either with you guys on stream or on a stream that you guys have been on. It's been, you know, like I haven't felt really motivated to do art beyond coloring stuff, and it was nice to draw something. I cheated a little and did some Photoshop elements on it for the final coloring page. Like I Photoshopped in the flipper on his arm from an actual figure, and then I Photoshopped Wondar into his other hand. So I feel like I should go back now and change that to Terror. But anyway, so yeah, it'll be fun. So. And that page will be up on my community page if anyone wants to download it and color along. I don't know, it feels, it's a good weird, but it does feel a little weird to like sort of have my own art up there instead of just an old coloring page. So anyway, it'll be fun. You should all definitely come to that. So yes, I have not technically backed mine yet. I wasn't maybe this is the universe making fun of me. I wasn't as intent on needing the middle finger hands. So I sort of didn't rush. I'm gonna back it probably this week, but I just wanted to wait. I spent a little too much of my luxury item budget last paycheck, so I was going to wait until this week after all of the bills are paid so I can semi-behave like an adult. But yeah, I'm gonna back it this week. Probably actually the same day he's on, just because of how everything works out. So I'm gonna undo some do the basic coloring on Merman. I'm not going to do all of Merman right now, but I just want to get sort of the color of him down so that I can get a good feel for what the total palette will be, and then I'll come back and clean them up. And this, it's called Cobalt Turquoise, and it's actually a pretty good match for what his skin tone is in the cross-cell art and the early Lords of Power version. So you will see a lot of this one, this particular color, during Mermania, and my Merman March content. And I've got a couple more shorts with Merman that will happen on Mondays. I do MOTU Monday for the shorts. And then I've got one more of these. I think next Friday is my next Friday live stream because I had to move some stuff around. But I think it's next Friday. It's scheduled. I'll look at it later. But I've got another Merman page for that day too. So not necessarily quite as much Merman content as I originally wanted to do, but it's been a busy month and pretty hectic. And again, I'm going to mention this finger because I'm a big baby about it, but with this finger, I'm not going to be producing as much this weekend as originally planned. So, but all right. So yeah, I've got his basic sort of color down. And I am just going to do the flat yellow for his face right now. I'll go in with a deeper color. Actually put yellow for his belt, but I think his belt is actually more of a green, so I'm going to go in with this chartreuse and do the green really quick. And he tends to have orange shorts, but not a sort of loud orange, more of a yellowy orange. So I'm just going to go in with this. This one is, I think this is orange yellow. So it's a little bit more yellow than orange yellow, but it's good for the first bit. And I'll go in with more of an orange, sort of to do the fur. That's the one thing about Merman that's always weird to me is he has the fur shorts, but he's an underwater thing. In Lords of Power, they sort of originally made it look like he had skelly shorts, but of course because they use the same buck for all of those figures, they changed them. So, all right, let's do the Sky Sled. And for that, go and get this one's called Blue Violet Lake, and it's sort of a grayish bluish color, which is pretty close. Sky Sled is sort of a little bit more of a green blue, but again, because of the shade of Merman and the shade I'm going to use for Stratos, I want to go a little bit more on the blue side for this, and it'll stand out more in the sky. So I'm just going to put sort of the undercoat down without a lot of shading. So let me get it covered. Your brain is dead. Yeah, it doesn't charge until the... yeah, I know it doesn't, but I'm really specific about... I try to be... because I go and deduct it from my accounting when I make the charge, as opposed to when it actually goes through. Otherwise, it's a mess. So yeah, it's kind of pedantic, but it's just I find on the accounting side, if I don't act as if the money is gone and I don't budget as if the money is gone and as if the money needs to be there, then I end up spending more than I should on luxury items, as it were. So just one of the weird things I do to try to keep myself in check with the spending is I am prone to overindulging on that stuff. So anyway. There we go. All right, so I've got my basic blue down for the Sky Sled. Now I'm going to go in with, it's slate gray, but it's actually a sort of a bluish gray. So I'm just going to go in with that. And I'm actually going to end up using this to shade probably Stratos. But I'm going to do some shading with this on here because it is kind of close to the sort of greenish blue of the Sky Sled. And then I'm going to put more blue on top of this. But for now, I'm just going to go in and do some shading with it to give the old sky sled some depth. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm kind of liking how it just looks like this. So maybe I won't put any extra blue on it. So the nice thing about winging it a little bit and not having too much attachment to using certain color combinations is when something goes a little bit differently, it's not as hard to let it go and just go with the flow. But I am kind of liking, I'm liking quite a bit actually what the slate gray is doing with that and the blue violet lake. Sometimes all the names of these colors crack me up, but it's like you have to name it something so that it stands out. You just can't call it like blue 17 or whatever. I mean, you could, but like it's, I don't know. It's a little less fun, I think. Yeah, I remember, I think you posted about that, Eldor. I wish Bob Ross is like one of my heroes. Hello, Hyperdelic. Welcome. Yeah, no, I adore Bob Ross. Like, just sort of his whole ethic, his whole idea that anyone could be creative, anyone could do art. Again, not everyone's gonna, you know, like, we're not all able to do art to the level where we're all going to make money from it or it's going to go in a museum, but anyone can, everyone should be creative in some way. Creative people are happy people. Like, I know I was obviously feeling pretty grumpy and cynical earlier today, and I worked on some stuff that isn't channel content. It was just already, you know, coloring just for myself while I was getting ready for the stream, and I felt better after that. And then I sliced up my finger, and it killed the joy for a little bit. But I'm getting it back as we're sitting here and I'm coloring and chatting with you guys. I think that was another reason why I decided, you know, just to sort of push through like any discomfort with the thumb. As I keep calling it my thumb, but it's the middle finger. But I think that's part of the reason I push through. I have come to really enjoy this sort of time where it's just sort of me coloring and chatting, basically just whatever floats into my mind or what based on what you guys are saying in chat. So yeah. And again, it's good to be consistent to build that habit. I've done one or two of these where nobody showed up, and like it was weird at first, but then the rewatch on those were decent enough that I didn't feel like it was a complete. But it was a really good exercise to sort of sit there and just sort of entertain myself and talk to myself. So for those of you who do live stream content, I did a video recently where I had to do some voiceover for it. And I filmed it like it was, I went ahead, instead of doing the voiceover, I just filmed it live like it was a live stream. And it did not go great. I ended up having to do the voiceover anyway, but it made the voiceover part of it a lot easier because I had done it as a live stream, so I sort of had a better sense for it. So the voiceover part went really fast. But I'm going to start filming, I think, more of the videos that require pre-record stuff. I'm going to start filming them that way so that I can get into the habit, because I bet with more practice I can get to a place where I could just do it all, you know, sort of film it, do the voice part, and not have to, and that cuts down my editing. And as mentioned earlier, I hate editing, so. All right, we've got our little sky sled up there. Or as Bob Ross would say, our happy little sky sled. But I want a little more shadow there, so there we go. All right. Oh yeah, so there's the sticker on the side, which, sticker. That's what it was on the toy. I'm just going to do this with yellow and red. I technically could probably go in there and make it more complex, like the sticker on the toy, but I'm just going to do it simple. No reason to go in for overkill. And I'm going to shade it up and do some color variants to it so that it's not just a flat color. And then do the red there. And then just go in with this orange. Nothing too fancy, but yeah, just those little touches can make anything a little bit fancier. Yep, it's true. Hello, Payne. Lovely to see you today. Hope you're doing well. Speaking of Payne and pre-records, March the 24th, Aaron and I did a pre-record, Aaron Payne and I did a pre-record back in December that I have been saving, and that's going to be on the 24th. So, it was fun. I had a great time hanging out with Aaron. Hopefully, he enjoyed hanging out with me as well. We all know that I am a mixed bag of joy or not joy, so. But yeah, so that will be on the 24th. So if you have been missing Aaron while he takes a break, there's some new Aaron content you didn't know existed that will be coming in the next couple of weeks. So definitely check it out. I will, it'll be a premiere, but I'll be in chat for the length of the episode, so we can chat through it and just, yep. I've been trying to, the goal is going forward at least once a month, maybe to drop a pre-record on a Sunday, so that I can sort of get out of town and go do stuff. So, but at the same time, I enjoy sort of that Sunday slot, and I like hanging out with people and coloring. So, we'll probably do some pre-records. But it's good to see you today, Aaron. I hope you're having a good day. And thank you for popping in. Right? There are so many Aarons. It's crazy. Hello, Todd. Well, nice to see you here for your live. I know sometimes you have to do the replays, so it's cool when people can make the live. I mean, not that I don't appreciate watch time after the fact, but it's also nice when you guys are here so I can sort of chat. There we go. All right. So yeah, obviously we're doing gray Stratos instead of flesh tone naked Stratos. And I'm going to go in with the same sort of gray blue that I used on the sky sled, and use that to sort of do a little shading to give him a little depth around the edges. Give his fur a little depth. Yeah, that happens, sir. Unfortunately, life sometimes gets weird. So, I hope you're weathering it as well as you can, though. So let's see. So since Todd's here and he doesn't always make live, how was your day, Todd? What's up? What did you learn at school? Just kidding. What did you learn at work today, Todd? All right, that looks pretty good. You know, I will say, Pain, that happens to the best of us. So, not downplaying at all what you're going through, but there are a lot of us in that same boat with you where we've got those same sort of tendencies. So, and as I've said elsewhere, and as I will say again today, if you do need to chat or just vent, let me know. I'm happy to listen. I mean, and if you are a narcissist, then me listening might actually be helpful. So you can go, you're totally right, sir. No, just kidding. I'm not usually the person who will tell anyone they're totally right, but I will cushion, especially depending on the situation. I can be kinder than people think. So. But yeah, if you need to talk, sir, let me know. I'm happy to do it. You know, we're all making content, but we're also all building a community, and part of being a community is being there for each other and taking time to check in. So I just know a lot of people have been reaching out to you, and I know that can be overwhelming when you got stuff going on. So I don't want to add to that by blowing up your messages with like, "Are you okay? Do you want to talk? Oh my god." So, if you need to, I'm there. Reach out, and I will reply as soon as I see the message. So. Yeah. Yeah, this is true. And that's a good point, Aaron, because sometimes the two things can look a lot alike on the outside. So if that is the case, then while it may not be something you were excited to find out, I bet there are a lot of things that will become a little easier now that you know what you're looking at. So I have a friend who for a really long time thought that she was a complete, utter train wreck, and she got diagnosed, and all of a sudden everything got a little easier for her because she was on the spectrum, and there was a reason why things didn't work, and it's a lot easier to find sort of solutions and work-throughs when you know what you're working with. So I know when I was grappling with some of the mental health stuff, the second we had a name for what I was dealing with, and there was treatment options, there were medication options, there were things we could do, like everything, a lot of things got better because suddenly it wasn't just, oh, you're crazy, you're a mess, you're all those sort of shitty things we tell people when they're struggling. Suddenly I had a name for it, and there were things we could do, and not some of them haven't worked, but some of them did. So hopefully that will be your experience if that's what it is, and you can figure out a way to make it work for you. So good. I have missed it on Friday nights. And I'm glad, because sometimes, and as you know, like sometimes when people are sometimes when you're in a tough spot, people reaching out and being loving and supportive doesn't always land well. I don't think you strike me as a narcissist. If you tell me you were on the spectrum, I would not be surprised. But I'm never surprised by stuff like that. So same. But sometimes I do think I'm better than people. So every time the Carls tell me you think you're better than I am. It's true, Carl. I am better than you, but and let's be honest, the Carls do not give us do not set a high standard, so it's really easy to be better than all of the Carls. So that's their own cross to bear. Which reminds me of that Alanis Morissette song, You Ought to Know. I, for a long time, thought she was saying cross-eyed bear, and I was like, that poor bear. But no, it was cross-eyed bear. So. Speaking of narcissists, that song by Alanis. It's allegedly about Uncle Joey and the Dave Coulier from Full House. Which is fun to think about, especially when you do the math and realize how old he was and how young she was whenever they would have had that relationship. So. Yeah, it's weird because it's been a couple Fridays now since Aaron hasn't been. Payne's Twins Samples hasn't been on Friday night, and my Fridays feel really oddly empty because that's not there. So yeah, it's been interesting because it's all every Friday night. It's like, what am I doing? Why is it? There's just sort of that empty spot where I would normally have the show on. So. Definitely missed in many different ways, sir. I mean, most Friday nights I am, like later I will be, as much as this finger will let me, I will be working on pages, and that is what I do. You know, like I'll pop into Aaron the Toy Enhancers streams on that he does, and I won't always be in chat, but I'm usually sitting here listening, coloring something, or like editing or work. You know, like I'm always usually doing channel stuff, so even if I don't comment a lot, I'm watching, I'm listening. You know, and I appreciate you guys keeping me company like that. You know, especially because so often, especially with live streams, it's just you're talking, you're interacting. It's like hanging out with people. It's not necessarily the same as if I've got like a true crime video on where it's, you know, they're telling us an official story, like sort of having a live stream where you're talking and interacting with each other. It's really cool. It's like hanging out with your friends. So anyway. Yeah, he did. Especially an older version of me. Because apparently at one point when they were arguing after the fact, when he was with his then wife, she actually, like in the argument, said that to him. So yeah, like it was about him. There were 2 or 3 other. She sort of mashed a couple of them together, but he was one of the primary ones. So. It's just weird to think, like, because I'm not gonna lie here. You know, I watched a lot of Full House in my younger years, and there were, I mean, we all know who the attractive man on there was, and it was definitely not Uncle Joey. That was his name. It was not Dave Coulier. No, I was not watching Full House for Dave Coulier. It was all about John Stamos, and just to find out that all of those songs, you know, especially because at that time, like for a lot of us, that was like, this is how I feel. Like Atlanta's sort of, you know, like for a lot of us, that was, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I dedicated one of those songs to one of the Carls. And just to realize at this point that she was singing about Uncle Joey. Ugh. Yeah, so yes, but you know, it's just, it is what it is. But yeah, that was one of my favorite albums at the time. It's hard to listen to now because it was so much of where I was. So it's like I will listen to it and remember how miserable I was in certain relationships. So I don't listen to a lot of Jagged Little Pill these days. I tend to listen to her second and third album these days. Those are the ones that like. It's like Liz Phair is like my favorite artist, but it's really hard for me to listen to Exile and Guyville now for the same reason, because it just reminds me of sort of that really sort of shitty phase in my 20s where like everything was miserable. Because you don't know anything in your 20s and you're dating people for all the wrong reasons and they're dating you for the wrong reasons. It's just a mess. And yeah, so I tend to, even Liz Phair, I tend to listen to her newer stuff that doesn't remind me of the 90s. And, you know, nostalgia kill. I say that, like, as if I'm not sitting here building an entire channel around my love of all things 80s, 70s and 80s toys, but, you know. It is what it is. Yeah, like that is really weird. Like, I mean, I know it happens, but the whole concept of that is so odd to me. Like, it's really, yeah, it's just odd to me that people are like that. I was watching the documentary was well made, but it was a horrible story a couple weeks ago about, it was true crime, and it was like this woman and her older son just did horrible things to like her autistic child because it was I'm gonna use like too much work, and I was just like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, and it just, I mean, obviously some people are just evil, but it was just, I don't know, like, it definitely was not, I did not finish that one feeling any better about society or humanity, because it's like nobody is that much work that, yeah, I don't know, it was just very messed up, and it was not, probably shouldn't have watched it. So sometimes I watch stuff and then when I finish it I'm like, I should have stopped that when it got to, especially true crime stuff, I shouldn't have watched it that far. So some of it, but it's officially Eldor. It's really shitty that anybody would do that to you, so I'm sorry. Not that I can make it better, but it just, sorry that happened, and I wish people weren't shitty. So alright, let's see. I think Stratos, the skin is done. I'm gonna do a little bit more with his shorts and his bird part, his blue parts. So I'm gonna go in before we get back and start giving Merman the attention he deserves, because it is, after all, Mermania March. But let's give a little depth to Stratos. All right, this also, this duck music is starting to be a little much. let's see, Into Space they call this one. Okay, that one will do for a little bit. And choose the blue to sort of give sort of that the furry look of his shorts. There we go. Okay, that looks good. All right, let's see, what do I, oh, I want to do more with those words though. For that, I'm going to use Crimson Lake, which is a much darker, more maroon red. I'm just going to use that to sort of put some shadows and a little bit of depth. Again, just sort of adding depth to it. It doesn't look quite so flat. And it's also a way, because as I've mentioned on other streams, some of the pictures in this coloring book are very rushed. You know, obviously there's probably a really tight deadline. It's a coloring book for kids. There was no concept that in 40 years somebody would be on the internet trying to do high art with this stuff. But because of that, you know, like some of the details aren't there, but it's really easy to go in just with shading and with coloring and stuff to add a little depth to it and make it, you know, a much deeper and richer picture than it kind of was before. So, yep, there we go. You do the same for his helmet. All right. All right. I think I feel like he's done now. Let's see. Right. Yeah, that probably happened. Yeah, I bet. And I'm going to do the impact. And for that, I'm going to do some orange. This weird explosion. And actually, I'm going to use the same one to go in and add a little depth to Merman's shorts. I feel like when Stratos is flying in here, he was like, he yelled at him, "Don't go chasing waterfalls," before he like knocked him off. So bring that the 90s vibe back around. You reached too high, Merman, and now I'm knocking you out of the sky. Alright, there we go. That's Merman shorts. And I'm going to start working on sort of his yellow. This is Merman's gloves, because for whatever reason an under the sea fish person would wear yellow gloves. And often whenever I would see artwork with him wearing the gloves, I always wondered what the fabric, or like what kind of material it was made of, because like normal gloves would get really wet and heavy under once they get fully wet, and it just seems like it would be hard for him to swim. So I often had the same question whenever Aquaman, you know, because he had gloves at one point. Like, what are those gloves made out of so that you can actually swim with them on with them, not slowing you down? I mean, obviously Aquaman has superpowers and extra strength and stuff, but still. Thank you, Eldor. Yep, it's coming along quite nicely. Just going in now and sort of adding all of the little bits to the armor so that it has that gold look. Right. Yeah, probably. But still, they have to have a good seal on them so that they don't, like, you know, because if you get water in those, you're going to sink right to the bottom of the ocean. Which is, of course, where all the sea monsters live, so. And then I'm back in with this sunburst yellow, and I'm just going to sort of add some layers of that around where I was using that, the brown color. And that sort of helps give it that gold look. If you watched my C3PO short that went up on Tuesday, I think, yeah, it was Tuesday. This is a shorter version of the technique I used to do that. So, and for that I used the Starjoy Gold pencil set instead of Prismacolor. But if I had done Prismacolor, it would be these colors that I'm using right now. Sort of a really light yellow, then sort of a reddish brown, and then a gold yellow. And that sort of helps give it that shiny gold effect. I should probably do an actual tutorial video on that effect, because I've actually gotten a lot of comments of people asking me exactly how I did it. So I'm gonna plan that for. We need to do a couple technique videos, I guess. Just been kind of avoiding them. And the 3PO one did start out, but as I've mentioned before, I'm impatient, and I messed a step up. And instead of starting over, I just finished it, and I'm like, it's a short now. If I could express how many of the like shorts I do that started out as longer videos and then I got impatient or messed something up, so that it wouldn't work as the longer video. I just kept going so it could be a short. Like, I would not have as many shorts as I do. But again, impatient. And I'm so old at this point that I don't think I'll ever become patient. It's not like you can really learn that, I don't think, after time. All right, there we are. We've got his gold farmer stuff. And now we need to do the face. So for the face, I'm gonna use sort of this reddish brown again that I used on the armor. There's a little bit on the eye as well. I'm just going to go back in with it's lemon yellow. And for shading on the face, I'm going to use it's pumpkin orange, so it's like a more pumpkin-y spice color. Use that instead of that the burnt ochre that I used over here, so that he has the gold sort of orange of his face is different than what his armor is a little bit. Just so it doesn't look the exact same. Oh yeah, and now it is time to finish Merman's skin. So I'm just going to go in on this, it's cobalt turquoise that I used for the skin. I'm going to use light aqua. And I'm just going to go in and sort of blend and fill in some of the spaces. And that is pretty much what gets it to that almost perfect cross-cell color. And sort of the blending of the two gives it that super aqua blue color, which is sort of the color of Merman I prefer. I like that. Lords of Power. I like the Lords of Power Merman actually a little bit more than I like the refer to him as the cat version. It's the head that they, on the vintage toy that they reused for Stinkor. And it's not a bad head sculpt or anything. It just looks so completely different than what the cross cell was. And the cross cell and the mini comics and stuff, he looked really creepy. Like, I thought, he was, especially to me as a kid, he was kind of scary. And the toy was not. And I sometimes wonder if that's why they changed it, was that he was less scary in the version they made as a toy. And, they made the, Masters of the Universe were meant for, like, what was it, 4 to 7-year-olds or something? It wasn't intended sort of as an older kid's toy. Yeah, it looks pretty. I mean, I've got the screen pulled up in front of me. It looks okay. It's just, again, StreamYard for whatever reason now does this weird autofocus thing. I need to start playing around with some of the other streaming services, because the fact that I can turn off autofocus on my phone, but StreamYard somehow turns it back on. It's pretty annoying. Alright, and change that music because that music is not happening for me. Alright, there you go. Alright, there we go. Alright, and I gave his eyes a little bit of a punch. Some white paint pen, and some black line, black fine liner. Alright, I think it's done. Thank you, Aaron. Yeah, I think it's done, and I am actually going to go ahead and wrap it up. My finger has gotten to the point where it is complaining, so I'm going to give it a rest for a little bit. But hey, we finished this, so that's my main goal, is to finish like at least one page per stream. I will be putting this up on Instagram so that it's a shot of it, sort of still without my hand in the way. Anyway, I thank you for hanging out with me this afternoon. Really quick, so earlier today, a strawberry shortcake color and chill hit, so go check that out. And then tomorrow I've got one of the Kinder booklets going live at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's the Glamour Gals Wave 3. Daily shorts as always. And then on Sunday, I'll be live at 11 a.m. with Michael from Toy Habits. We're going to color Princess of Power and chat toys. I'm sure he'll have a leak or two of some news he can share. And then Monday night, I have a long-form coloring video going up. And then on Wednesday, I'll be live 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time coloring Flipboard with Mad Hatter. So thanks for hanging out, and I hopefully will see you guys later. Yeah, thank you, and thank you both. Thank you all. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.